The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Maricopa Fire, on your new apparatus, job number 29983. Please utilize this job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment. Let's get started on a brief orientation of your new apparatus. Starting underneath the front bumper, you'll find two open-ended tow hooks. Moving up onto the bumper, on the outer edges of the bumper, you'll find two air horns. Moving just inside of that location, you'll find two electronic sirens. Moving up onto the very top, you'll find a tubbed storage location for your front bumper hose. And also on the driver's side, you'll find your top-mounted mechanical siren. Onto the body itself, on the outer edges, you'll find your turn indicators. Moving just inside of the headlight cluster, low beams on the outside edges, and on the inside edge will be your high beam. Moving up from that, you'll find an emergency warning light cluster. Looking down here in your front bumper, there is an 1.5 inch swivel discharge for your bumper load. Close-up view here of your tow hooks and also your TAC4 suspension from underneath. Let's go ahead and move all the way to the very top of the bucket. At the very top forward-facing area, you'll find 3 running lights. Moving up from that location in the center, you'll find your opticom. Just off to the right and left of your opticom, you'll find a cluster of emergency warning lights, in addition with a set of warning lights on each side of your doors leading into the front bucket. Looking up onto the very top, you'll find 2 large diameter discharges, one on the right and one on the left. Currently situated with the passenger side with a fog and the driver side with a straight stream. Moving up to the very top, you'll find 2 forward-facing floodlights. Here's a close-up of those 2 forward-facing floodlights that are adjustable. Let's go ahead and take a look underneath your front area. You have 2 downward-facing floodlights. Moving just inside of that, you'll find your 4 bumpers or grounding. Moving just inside that, you'll find a discharge underneath. And at the very top, you'll find your master stream drain. Here's some close-ups of the front end of your apparatus. These are those emergency warning light cluster. Moving down from that, you'll find your headlight cluster. Turn indicator. Moving further down, once again, onto that front bumper, this is that mechanical siren, air horn, and electric siren. Let's move to the driver's side of your vehicle. On the front bumper, you'll find your air inlet and your 20 amp shore inlet. Auto eject plug. This is going to be on the opposite side, an emergency warning light. Generalized view here of the side of the apparatus. We'll continue with some of the components as we move to the side. Let's start on the side of the apparatus. On the driver's side, you'll find also on the passenger side this bullet style rear facing camera. Just down from that, you'll find your auto charging system with a digital display. And just down from that, you'll find all 4 doors, entry points, have keyed locks. Close up here of the auto charging status center. The very top of the apparatus, just underneath your star of light, or above your star of life, you'll find an emergency warning light. Just to the rear section, you'll find a visual indicator for your tank level. Looking down at the lower section, a visual inspection for your hub. Moving to the rear section of these compartments, first let's take a look in this diamond plated compartment. As that door is open and revealed, you can see that you have hose storage on the bottom, in addition with longboard storage. Let's talk a little bit about this cross lane number 1, yellow in color. Cross lane number 2 on the right, white in color. and then you'll find a warning label regarding entanglement. As we look at the top section, you can see that on the left-hand side you have 2 spaces for board storage in addition with hose storage on the right. Looking down at the very base area here, this is your side pump panel. You can see at the top you have a 2.5-inch discharge. Just underneath that, an additional 2.5-inch discharge. Your large diameter intake directly in the center area. Moving down from that and to the right, you'll find your 2.5-inch auxiliary inlet. Moving to the very bottom, these are going to be your drains for all of those discharges, including your crosslays. At the very top, take note of a warning label regarding pressurized caps and the hazards associated with removing caps while under pressure. Generalized side view of your apparatus. Let's talk about the next compartment just to the right. Underneath that compartment, you'll find this step. This is a pull-out folding style step. To access this, simply depress the lever just underneath the left and right hand side of the step. Once the step has been pulled to its fully extended position, this will allow you to gain access to the upper portion of the step. Simply lift this section outward away from the truck, and this will allow you to gain full access to the step. As you can see, there is lighting on the top and at the bottom. These are those perimeter lights controlled with inside the cab. Let's go ahead and talk a little bit about the pump panel here. We'll start in the upper left-hand corner, first starting with the warning and hazard label at the very top regarding trained personnel should operate this equipment. Moving down from that, your minimum operation maintenance schedule at 150, 200, and 250 psi, and at the very bottom, your governed speed at 1,970. Let's go ahead and move to the right. You have your master intake, master discharge, 2 test ports here for vacuum and pressure. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll find an amber light indicating PCM fault, and just beneath that, you'll find an audible speaker, which is controlled for the volume. Looking at the pump panel here, starting from left to right, you'll find your front discharge, crosslay 1 and crosslay 2. You'll also find your speaker for communications for the person in the tip, and also a primer pump, and also your Pierce pressure governor. Here's a close-up of that front discharge, crosslay number 1, crosslay number 2. As you can see, all of these are color-coded and coincide with the actual discharge. These 3 individual levers here are all lockable. As we look to the right-hand side, this is your Pierce control of your apparatus engine speed and also pump pressures. This is the control location for that. As we move further down from that location, you'll find your tank refill and recirculating line to the left. Moving to the middle, you'll find your tank to pump. And then across the very bottom, you can see they're currently in the lit position. These are all 3 electronic valves. The upper valve here, passenger main inlet, open and closed, and also an indicator light indicating pump engaged. These are just above the tank fill and the tank to pump. Moving just to the right of this location, you'll find your number 2 discharge passenger side located in the orange. As we move further to the right of this electronic valve, you'll find your large diameter discharge, that's in green, and then you'll find your aerial discharge. That is also in an orange color. Just to the bottom of this location, you'll find your primer drain and also an additional set of drains here. There are 4. This is going to be clearly labeled 1, 2, aerial drain also. Let's talk a little bit about the compartment in the upper right-hand side. This access door gains access to your pump override. Just inside from this location, you'll find the labeling on the very top. You'll find a rocker switch which has a safety cover on it, and also you'll find an amber light if indicated or on. Let's go ahead and take a look at those. This is your passenger main inlet air bleed. You also have number 1 and number 2 crosslay, and also your aerial drain. Just above these 4 drains here, you'll also find an image here indicating your primer drain. This is not a pull. This is a twist to open and close for your primer drain. Let's go ahead and look to the left-hand side of your pump panel.
On the left-hand side, you'll find the switches here, which is your under basket floodlight, rear basket floods, driver's side flood, and passenger side floodlights. Just beneath that, you'll find 2 blank spaces for future locations of switches if you choose. Generalized side view of the apparatus. We'll talk a little bit about some of the components and compartments in the next set of images. As we look to the very top, you'll see that there are 2 floodlights, one in the front and one in the rear. Just down from that light, you'll find this access door. This is going to be the access door not only from the side but also from the top for your 200-foot electrical cord. This is a 20 amp electrical reel. It is 200 feet in length. Also just located from that, you'll find the cord reel line. Down at the very base in front of the front set of rear tires, you'll find your wheel chocks. You'll also find an electrical hazard sticker, which is indicating danger regarding electrical electrocution. Just forward of that, you'll find your 4.5 DEF fill, which is a blue cap. In this compartment between both duals, you'll find a 4-bottle storage location. There are 3 clearly visible at the very top, with the center one being a compartment that can be lifted, and they also have straps for securing. Behind this access door, you'll find your diesel fill. This is just near that bottle storage location. This is going to be your low sulfur diesel. This is a silver cap. Let's go ahead and move to the compartment first here. You'll see you have a pull-out shelf in addition with a roll-out shelf, and we'll talk about this component next. This is your 12-volt auto charging system. This is for when you're plugged into shore power in the very back here, and also your air compressor for your air brakes. Just to the right, you can see how to access this shelf. Simply depress the lever and allows the shelf to move in its outward position. You can see here it's in its fully extended position. As you can see, all compartments have lights within inside that are LED. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the compartments as we move further back on the apparatus. In this compartment, you can see you have a shelf mounted in the very center. This shelf is adjustable. Let's go ahead and move back to the next compartment back, just over the rear wheel. As we look inside this compartment, you can see this is a lit compartment with no shelf mounting. Moving back to the further section here, to the compartment labeled paramedic on it, you'll find inside this compartment you have 2 adjustable shelves at the top, and if you choose, an adjustable shelf on the bottom. Moving down from that location, you'll find your pads for your aerial device. Let's go ahead and move to the very rear section of your apparatus. You'll find these fold down steps. Also between those steps, you'll find front to rear a level indicator and also work lights. To remove the ladder from its stored position, simply lift the bar latch here. Once that is lifted, it will then pull out to the downward or engaged position. Repeat the step to restore the ladder. Let's go ahead and move to the rear of the apparatus. The very top, right and left side, you'll find 2 emergency warning lights. Just in from that, you'll find a reverse light, and at the very top, you'll find 2 rear-facing floodlights. Moving to the very center area, you'll find your traffic advisor. Just on the very top of the traffic advisor, you'll find a backup or reverse camera. Let's go ahead and move down to the cluster at the very bottom of lights. You'll have your reverse, turn, brake, and also an emergency warning. And just up from that cluster on the right and left side, on the left side, or I should say driver's side, you'll find a set of 2 switches. These 2 switches are your deck lights in addition with those rear floodlights. These are the controls for those switches. Just up from the set of 2 switches, you'll find a warning label regarding hose entanglement and the hazards associated. You'll also find in this access door the storage location for large diameter hose. Just beneath that large diameter hose storage, you'll find an access door. This is the access door regarding the controls for your outriggers and also leveling your apparatus for utilizing the aerial. This is the handheld device regarding the stabilizers. Let's go ahead and move to the very right hand side here, and we'll talk about your large diameter intake. Just beneath that, you'll find also right to left leveling device, and also moving to the right, you'll find an access door. Behind that access door is your aerial drain, and to the right of the access door and also on the left hand side, you'll find 2 attachment points. These are closed hooks attachment points, and there is also some information regarding warning labels associated with using those. Generalized view of the rear of your apparatus in this roll-up door. You'll find your ladder storage and also long tool storage. Let's talk about accessing those ladders. In the very center, you'll find this lift latch. Once this latch has been disengaged, I have an image here next that will show you how to do that. Once it's lifted and removed from the access door here, this will allow that door to fold in the downward position, allowing those ladders to be pulled out. In this compartment, once again, ladder storage. You can find your various sizes of ladders, in addition with pike pole storage and also folding ladder storage. And you also have this hose storage location or tool storage location that pulls in the outward position. I have that in the next image. You have a 10-foot folding and a 24-foot two section. This is that device can be utilized for hose storage or also tool storage. Moving to the right-hand side, you can see you also have 3 ladders in this location. The types of ladder here are 16-foot roof, an additional 16-foot roof, and a two-section 35-foot. At the very top, you can see once again storage here for long poles or other long pole storage. To the right-hand side, once again, you have that caution and warning label regarding electrical hazards. Generalized view here, the side of your apparatus. Let's go ahead and move all the way around the passenger side of your vehicle, talk a little bit about some of the components here, and also take a look at the very top section of your aerial device. But first, let's start once again down at ground level, and we'll start with the first compartment in the rear. This has an adjustable shelf located inside and also lighting. Generalized view here, the side of the apparatus. We'll talk about this set of compartments next. What you're seeing here in this image is your stabilizers and also a warning label. Once we gain access into the compartment here that says paramedic on the side, we'll talk about some of the components within this compartment. Once this compartment door is open, you can see at the very top you have 2 reels. These are for your hydraulic tools. One is yellow in color and the other is black in color. They also have the hose minders, which allow the hose to be pulled through this device so that it does not chafe the side of the door. When it's in the outright position, the hose simply just slips into that area, and you can see it on both sides here. You have one on the right door and also on the left door. These do fold back when you're choosing to close and lock and store the doors. Let's go ahead and talk about the hose reels real quick. Once again, yellow and black. They are color coded also on the side, right-hand side here of the switches. To rewind those reels at the very top, you have the black, which is your reel rewind in the black color, and then at the very bottom is the yellow push button reel rewind. At the very bottom of this shelf, you'll find a rollout shelf. Once again, to depress this lever on the right-hand side of the ball bearing side of the pull-out, this will gain access to extending this drawer to its full outright position. The next image here is with that shelf in its full outright position. And you also have adjustable shelves located in this compartment also. Just underneath this compartment, you'll also find the passenger side storage location for your 2 stabilizer pads. Let's go ahead and now move up to the very top. Just a view here above this compartment, you also have a side-facing floodlight. And there's also one further on the cab just up from this location. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the compartments in the very top section. We'll start with this smaller compartment just underneath that floodlight that I just mentioned. When this compartment door is opened, you'll find you have the ability for just open compartment storage. There are no shelves in this compartment. There is lights to illuminate with inside the compartment. Let's go ahead and move down to the very bottom. In between the 2 dual rear wheels, you'll find this compartment behind this access door. Once again, same as the other side. This is bottle storage. There are the potential for 4 bottle storage in this location. All of the straps here secure the bottles, and in the very center, that center section does lift up for an additional bottle to store underneath that. Moving to the compartment just located over the top of this, you'll find a 2-compartment door. Once that door is open, you'll find the access location for mounting of tools on your tool board. This tool board is adjustable from front to rear. It has the ability to mount tools on the face and also in the back side. Let's go ahead and take a look when it's in the open position. You'll find you also have tool storage on the very back wall. To restore this back to its original position, just inside on the hinge side, there is a latch. Depress that latch imaged here, and this will allow you to then return it back to its locked or stored position. Moving forward of this location to the next compartment. This is going to be a tall compartment. Inside this tall compartment, once again, a two-section door. You will find open the first door, reach inside, and there's a latch down at the lower section which gains access to its full door open. You have divided storage here, and also at the very bottom a pull-out style shelf and toolboard side. Let's go ahead and take a look at it when it's in its full outright position. Also located in the compartment here, when this is accessed and fully open, is the G1, which stands for generator breaker panel. I have an image here next that will show that in the pulled out or open position, and you can see how to access that G1 panel. Also located directly under this compartment is the exhaust tailpipe. This is your diesel exhaust tailpipe. There is also a warning label just above that regarding superheated temperatures and hazards associated with parking next to flammable items. Let's go ahead and move just forward of that location. We'll also talk about some of the components on this side. And first, let's start at the very top. Similar to the other side, you have that access door. Once that access door at the very top is opened, you'll find the cord reel behind that. This compartment also has the ability to access from the roof section, and we'll talk about that, I think, a little later as we get into some of the images of the top of the vehicle. Here's that 200-foot cord reel. We're now on the passenger side, same layout as it is on the driver's side. Just beneath that, you'll find the switch for the cord reel rewind. This is once again a 20 amp, 200-foot cord reel. Let's go ahead and move just forward of this location. You'll find this large door. This is a single pull door. It's also the location just underneath it of your wheel chock storage. Once the compartment door is open, you'll find two fixed shelves in addition with lighting within inside. Let's go ahead and move just to the right to the diamond plated compartment door. This is once again a single pull door. Once that door is open, you'll find the storage location for your crosslays for crosslay 1 and crosslay 2 on the very bottom. And at the very top, backboard storage and additional hose storage if you choose. The bottom section of this compartment houses the pull-out shelves, which allow you to load the hose with inside for speed loads. And those can be taken out, hose can be loaded, and then restored back into that compartment. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side of the pump panel here. Let's start at the upper left-hand corner. This is your large diameter intake. Just up from that, you have some electronic valves. This is the override associated with that electronic valve. To the right of that, you'll find the controls for your cab lift. And as we move down from that location all the way down to the lower left-hand side, this is going to be your 2.5 auxiliary inlet on the passenger side. As you can see, an additional override, that is for the electronic valve, which overrides this 2.5-inch discharge port. Moving down from that location, you'll find an additional override. This is the override, which is just next to the large diameter discharge port located here where the arrow is indicating. Down at the very bottom, you'll find all the associated drains according to color and also labeling for this side of the pump panel. Upper right-hand corner, you're going to find that cab lift. This has a lock release in addition with a lower and raise switch in red, and also the activate. There are instructions on how to operate that. I would suggest following those. Here are the closest views here of those overrides that I have. You can see that it does require a tool to make that override work. It is a turn valve. Close up here of that auxiliary inlet and also the large diameter. And now we'll move all the way to the very right-hand side. Take a look at that large diameter discharge and the override here. You can see it's color-coded in green, just as it is on the other side for the valve for operations. Let's go ahead and take a generalized view here of the side of the apparatus, the cab. We'll talk about some of the components here. Let's move to the upper corner of your cab. At the very top, you'll find a red, green, yellow indicator. This is your indicator for how much water is in your tank. There's one on the opposite side of the vehicle in the exact same location. Green indicating full, red flashing, or red empty or nearly empty. Generalized view here of the side of the apparatus of the passenger side. Let's go ahead and now move up to the very top of the apparatus, talk about some of the components in the roof area. Your vehicle is equipped with 2 GO lights. There is one on the passenger side and also on the driver's side. These are controlled spotlights, and you can also see just beneath that the side-facing and forward-facing warning lights. As you can see, your vehicle is equipped with the air door combination, which is a step and also the door that opens at the same time when you activate the door. Inside that, on each point of entry, you'll find on all of the doors and all of the door panels warning and hazard labels regarding seat belts and also information regarding fall. There is also this placard here just inside the door in the cab. You'll find a warning label regarding diesel exhaust and some of its known hazards, in addition with equipment damage and to read your services manual. Also on the right hand side, you'll find your Pierce placard information regarding the date of manufacture. You'll also find its year, VIN numbers, and associated information regarding fluids. Just underneath the driver's seat, you'll find all of the controls for your air ride system. These are all for comfort. Just at the very bottom, at the floorboard level, on the left-hand side, you'll find your foot pedal for your mechanical siren. Let's go ahead and move up from this location, about knee location, left knee. You'll find in red the battery switch. This is your master battery switch. You'll find your engine pump pressure and also your tank vision for your water tank. Just beneath that, you'll find all of your diagnostic ports and also regen information. Let's go ahead and take a look at the panel itself. Up on the left, you'll find your start and ignition and also your panel dim rocker switch and your headlights. To the right of that, full set of gauges here. Across the bottom, you'll find your transmission, oil, DEF level, your fuel indication, front air, and rear air. And at the very top, you'll find your water temp, tachometer, and speedometer, and also you'll find your voltage. To the right of that, you'll find this placard regarding the height, length, and gross vehicle weight rating. Let's go ahead and talk about some of the switches just near that same area. You'll find your aerial master, aerial PTO, platform leveling active, fuel primer, high idle, okay to engage the high idle, auto lube fault indicator, and a cab not locked indicator. Generalized view here of the cab configuration here just to the right of the operator. Let's go ahead and talk about that. At the very top, we'll cover these switches here that are just next to the panel. First, let's start at the top with your climate control. Moving down from that location, you'll find your engine brake on-off, engine brake settings for low, medium, and high. You'll also find an indicator for your Telma indicator, a blank for a future location, DPF regen, and DPF regen inhibit in red switch. Down from that, you'll find your driver's side scene, passenger side scene, rear scene, deck lights, passenger side flood, and driver side flood. You're also going to find some warning labels regarding to disengage your retarder when on wet or slippery surfaces, and always utilizing your parking brakes. Let's go ahead and now just move up to the to the side of this location, and we'll talk about some of the components here. First, let's start at the very top. This is your Pierce Command Center. It has a tremendous amount of information right at your fingertips. Just beneath that, driver's side windows, passenger side window, driver's side cab window, and also your passenger side cab windows. Those are all of your window controls for the operator in the operator seat. Individual controls for each window at their individual locations. Also to the right, you'll find your pull to apply system parking brake and also push to release that. Let's now move to the right-hand side here. You can see at the very top, we've got some mirror controls. We'll talk about those next. Your mirrors are outfitted with a flat mirror and also a convex mirror. These are the controls for that. You also have some cup holders located here just beneath those mirror controls. And then moving down, you have your stationary okay to pump, your water pump, you have a seatbelt indicator, you also have your traction off-road, front wheel lock, and mirror heat. Just beneath that, you have the locked for your interaxle differential. Generalized view here just above the operator's head. We'll talk about some of those switches here next, starting with your emergency master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, upper rear warning, your Opticom, and also location of your load manager. Moving just to the right of that, you'll find your master siren control here. These are for the electronic sirens, and also your PA or public announcement microphone and volume. Just to the right of this location, you'll find this round style light directly in the center. If lit, this is indicating not to move the apparatus, that you have a compartment door or some sort of access door open. Moving to the right of that, you'll find your go light. This is to the operator's right, and it's a control on-off switch and also the control on the left. Let's go ahead and take a look outside the cab looking in. This is the rear cab going inside. Steps are down, doors open. Left-hand side, you can see that there is a warning label regarding the use of seat belts. As we look just inside the cab here, you'll find you have 2 rear-facing SCBA mounted seats. In addition, you have 2 forward-facing SCBA seats. Generalized view here looking to the very back section of the 2 center mounted seats. We're now looking at the passenger side door. As you can see, there's reflective yellow tape and also your warning labels regarding seatbelt usage. Just inside the cab, you'll find your SRS supplemental restraint system and also a warning label regarding that system just beneath it. As we look to the left-hand side of the center console, you'll find some switches and buttons and also some access point for 12-volt power. Looking on the left, you'll find your air horn, electronic siren, and mechanical siren buttons, and then 2 barrel-style 12-volt access points. In the front of that, you'll find your vehicle data recorder. Here's another image of those: air horn, electronic siren, and mechanical, and the 2 barrel-style 12-volt access. Located between the passenger seat and the driver, you'll find this access door. This is for your daily checks for checking the engine oil and transmission oil. As we look overhead in the passenger area, you'll find you have a set of switches, in addition with also a go light on the passenger side. Let's talk about the go light. Switch on and off on the right, indicator light in red, and control on the left-hand side. The bank of switches, you have your TA sweep left and TA sweep right, in addition with a bunch of future locations if you choose to install additional components. And on the very far right-hand side, at the very top, you have your siren brake and also a rear scene. Generalized view here, looking up at the top of the ladder here at the bucket, you can see you have side-facing warning lights. And let's go ahead and take a look at the opposite side. Same concept on this side. You also have your L571 and your department logo. This is going to be the rear section of your apparatus as we make access to the very top. On the left-hand side is your pedestal. The small black round is an audible alarm. And as you can see, the very right-hand side, you have breathing air access located here. Let's go ahead and take a look with the compartment open. At the very top, this is going to be your emergency stop switch. It is a mushroom-style push. And on the left-hand side, you have information regarding weights and capacities, in addition with warning and hazard labels. Same speaker that's on the pump panel. It's also on the tip of the ladder. This is your communication device. It has talk and also a volume switch. Generalized view here of the controls for retract left and right, and also your raise, and also Pierce Command Center at the very top. Generalized view here of your 100-foot steel aerial platform load chart. Familiarize yourself with that and the different settings for utilizing your aerial. On the side, you'll also have an inclinometer regarding the percentage or height associated with the angle of your ladder and its position. And as you can see on the right-hand side here, we have a regulator here for regarding your air. Just at the base of the ladder, you'll find an access or storage door here. Once this location is identified, this just merely is opened to gain access for electronic controls. This is also the location of all of your emergency overrides. Generalized view here of your ladder, looking from the pedestal moving forward. You also have on the inner section of the fly, you have a 14-foot roofer. Standing at the base of the ladder on the right-hand side, you'll find you have a storage location, and on the left-hand side, you have a 14-foot roof. Once this compartment is open, there is also some informational placards just on the lid here and also on the face of the lid. Please pay attention to those warning labels. Let's go ahead and look at the very front section of your bucket area. As you can see, you have 2 right and left floodlights that are adjustable and that can be telescoped. Just to the side of those, you'll find 2 compartment storage which houses latches on the top. And as we look forward into the bucket itself, you can see the main control unit. That control unit is movable from the right to left-hand side. Let's talk a little bit about some of the warning labels here regarding the use of fall restraint protection. There are some latches in addition with some labels here regarding the use of manuals and understanding how to operate prior to engaging the operation of this section. Looking here as a generalized view, as we look forward, you can also see that you have breathing air at the tip. This is the location for that breathing air, which requires a hose and your mask. Moving to the right, you'll also find on all points of entry, you'll find additional attachment points for life safety. Here's an additional picture showing the attachment point in addition with the latch to gain or open the door. Moving to the center console of the apparatus, you'll find directly in the center the tip and ladder controls. To the right is your shutoff switch and also nozzle controls. On the right hand side, or I should say in the very center here, you'll find this speaker, same speaker on the pump panel and also back on the pedestal. This is your method of communication. Also on the right hand side, this is your Pierce Information Command Center. There is a protective lever on top of that to access, just open the latch. Beneath it, you'll find on the left hand side an audible warning alarm and also 2 locations for breathing air. Here are the controls for your retract, lower, raise, and right to left. Once again, this is a module that can be removed and moved to a different location as it is pictured here on the left-hand side of your apparatus. This is the image showing on the right-hand side. These are all compartment locations on the doors itself. Let's take a look at the nozzle control. You have stream, fog, left and right, and also lower and raise, and you also have your front basket lights and aerial speed. Just underneath at the base of the ladder, you'll find your air cylinder for breathing air. And also just beneath that area, you'll find additional storage location, although be cautious in storing in this area due to the rotation of the turntable. Also just forward of that location is your water fill or top fill for the tank. Looking at the passenger side of the vehicle, you can see that forward-facing floodlight, and also this is the point where you can see access points for those reels. On the right and left-hand side, this is the top access, which I mentioned earlier, for those reels. And I have an image of those reels here with this compartment door in the open position. Congratulations, Maricopa, Arizona, on your new apparatus, job number 29983. If you have any questions as to the content of this video, or any questions regarding components, please contact your Hughes Fire Sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.